are always just stable topics or whatnot because of the amount of work that goes into it. And despite his claims to have done a half-assed job and just sort of, well, yes, I know. But there still was, I noticed, a structure. And so he tried. So I'll give him a participation award. Okay. Yeah, in fact, that was the first thing I noticed is that you went for a fairly conventional structure, the sort of a three-point body essay. And I always appreciate that because it means that you're trying not just to be a gibbering idiot. You're trying to actually say something. Unfortunately, I have no idea what that was. You asked for it. And yeah, so that was kind of the issue I had with his outlines. It felt like there were these points, but where was he going with it? And it's unfortunate because I feel that Joseph, which is his name, has a lot of the basics down. With his voice, I was in the second last row there, I can hear Joseph very clearly. Joseph's voice projects very well. However, I think where Joseph needs to work on is talking slower. He tends to talk very fast, and it's sort of unusual, I would say, because he has this combination of being able to speak very clearly, but he is, I would say it's almost a talent in a certain way that he's able to fire out words at such a rapid pace. He doesn't take breaks between his sentences, and I think that was, I call it a talent because honestly I'd probably run out of things to say at certain points if I were trying to do the same thing. But I think it's also a bit of a crutch because it meant that he was actually able to talk about as much as he put in his structure. That with all these things he had to say about growing up in Hong Kong, he was actually able to get through a lot of that. And had he taken things a bit slower, he might have realized, oh wait, I don't have enough time to say all this. So I think it would have helped actually slow down and try and be a little more paced with the number of points. Okay, there's the green's coming up. I got to be at this point in my speech. Don't talk faster. Just try and wrap up your points and move on. So in terms of content, I think that Joseph really has it's a good style because I can tell he's very unflappable. He noticed me shaking my head. He was able to react to some of the things Thomas was doing. He reacted to the card. So it felt like he was really engaging the audience. And I think it's a good trait to have because it means he's not just up here dead, limp. He's here, he's willing to engage with us. And it shows openness. I think that's a good trait to have. However, there is a bit of a boundary there, that is, at what point are you breaking the fourth wall? At what point do you say, well, haha, I'm really just doing a speech, I'm not really talking about myself, I'm just goofing around up here. And I think I think Joseph, he's pushing it. I think I would say that he probably could do by being just a little less, I wouldn't say a little less engaged, but try and less of, haha, I'm not here doing a speech, more of just, I'm not lost for words myself even, more of just sort of saying, I see some of you nodding your head. Don't say, I see you, Patrick, nodding your head. Just try and be a little more general rather than interacting with us so specifically. And so then finally, just to look at his body movements, I think that Joseph, I guess he needed his points here because he couldn't afford cue cards. But I think he should have been looking for a more artful way to do this, because I felt like there was sort of like he was standing over here and tapping away, and I felt like he needed to be doing something like this and try and be clever about it, but also to work it in so that maybe he'd go around in a circle and then swing back over to the computer. So there was almost like it looked like it was the natural part of the speech, not just, oh, I don't know what to say next. And then tapping keys. It needs, if you're going to do that, if you're going to rely on your points, you've got to work it into your speech. It can't just be running back and forth, which is what he looked like he was doing, because he never walked over here. I never saw Joseph walk to his right. He was always over to the computer. And also, his gestures are a bit interesting because they go with his speech well, but they are kind of repetitive. He does the same thing. And I think it's like this.
It's supposed to be like a pinky shit, and then just.
Yeah. Well, now we know he likes his eggs. You should have included that in your speech. But I feel like there isn't much variety to it. You've got to, I don't know, make a sandwich, or perhaps try stirring a pot. I don't know. Cook some other foods. You can't eat eggs all the time. So you've got a broader diet. But it's not a bad gesture in and of itself, but I think that he can do better. And that is indeed my summary of his speech. I thought it was very competent. It was, despite his claims to be half-assed, it was nonetheless, he knew that he had a plan and he had some goals for it. But I'd like to challenge Joseph to try and communicate something, say something. Find one point in your speech about yourself. What was special about Hong Kong? How did that inspire you to be a Sony CEO? Find something, a theme that you want to inform us about or to inspire us with. And that has to be the goal for your speech, not just hitting your points. And I look forward to more speeches from you in the future, Joseph.